Thank you all for your lovely warm welcome to Dorset. It's really lovely to be here. I've been here a few times in the last year, and I remember about a year ago, in the summer holidays, we were all engaged in a leadership contest. Doesn't that seem like a long time ago? And I came to Dorchester and I came to Torquay and I met some of you there. And later on in the year, I came to Bournemouth as well and gave a talk and a lecture on something which I call cultural Marxism, which something people are waking up to. And some of you came to hear me talk about that and how that's affecting this country. And all through the last 2 years since the referendum, the media, the establishment has been saying to us in UKIP, why don't you just go home? You've done your job, you got the referendum, you won the referendum, leave it to Theresa May. She'll deliver Brexit. Yes, well, yeah, I could say something very rude about that, but there's a camera there, so I won't. But you can imagine, she's not delivering Brexit. But apart from Brexit, apart from the purpose that we have as UKIP to make sure that the result of the referendum is enacted upon and honoured by the government and powers that be, we have another purpose as well. And I believe that is to stand up to cultural Marxism, or as people know it better, political correctness. Everyone understands what political correctness is. Even if we come out of the European Union, there's enough people who are in positions of power in the institutions to mess this country up and to mess up what should be a step into prosperity and freedom. A step into having back our national sovereignty and building this country up again and making it great. That's what Brexit should mean, and it should be automatic. But it isn't, because we've got a Conservative party, which I call the Conservative in name only party, which are fake Conservatives. They don't really want Brexit, and they don't really want this country to be great again. And what has happened to the party of Winston Churchill, who fought the Nazis and won the Second World War and brought in freedom? Over the last 60 and 70 years, it has gone from the heights of heroism to the lows of depravity, if I can even use that language. What is happening now with this Conservative Party, particularly in the field of education, which I'm a spokesman for, is quite unbelievable. Education should be about training our young people with the skills and talents they need to survive and thrive in this country and to go out into the world and be ambassadors for Britain, start businesses around the world. But what they want to do is tell 5-year-old kids, you're not boys and girls, and confuse them. This is the kind of level that we're on. And I hear from people writing to me all the time about education, from parents who feel alone, who feel that see what's going on, see the rampant political correctness in our country and seeing it being imposed on their children in schools. And they're worried and they don't know what to do. And they haven't got anyone to vote for apart from us. And I think that is our purpose and our mission, to stand up to the political correctness which will destroy this country if we don't get into power. Thank you. And if we are strong, and if we are courageous and bold, we will get into power, because people will hear us and we resonate with the vast majority of people who are the silent majority, who are ignored by the media, who are ignored by the government, who are ignored by the establishment and despised by them. And they feel alone, but if we shout, you're not alone, you have common sense. You know what you're talking about. Your parents, you know the best way to bring up your children. You're British, you know the best way to run our country and to make our country great again. I believe that UKIP is the voice for the ordinary, patriotic person with common sense who hates the political correctness that has been foisted upon them and just simply wants to get on with their life and live in a normal, natural way. Thank you. And so one of the things I talk about a lot, which I think people are really worried about, is this transgender agenda, which is being, I hear some of you laughing, because it is completely ridiculous. And 4 years ago, no one had even heard of the word transgender. It was like, what's that? You know, cisgender, what's that? Nobody really knew. But suddenly it's everywhere. And if you don't sign up and you don't agree with it, you're called a transphobic bigot. And everywhere you go, people are opening transgender toilets. And they're opening up changing rooms so that men who say they're women and trans women can go into women's changing rooms. But even, you know, that's laughable to some extent, but it's also quite damaging. The tragedy of the situation is I talk to teachers, and I've met really, really good teachers. And there was a story in Oxford a year ago or so of a great teacher who's a Christian teacher, actually. He ran the Christian Union in his school. But he spoke to a group of girls in his maths class, and one of the girls, I think it was a girl, who said she was a boy. So actually she was supposed to be called a boy. And he went up to this group of girls and said, "Well done, girls, your maths assignment was really good." And the girl said, "I'm not a girl, I'm a boy." So he said, "Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, you're a trans boy. So sorry, girls and boys, your maths assignment was really good." He was actually trying to be polite and fit in with this Orwellian kind of insanity that is being thrust upon us. And a few weeks later, the boys, can't work it out in my head really, parents complained to the school and said, "Your teacher called my trans son girl," or something like that. And he was, the long and the short of it, besides the confusion, the teacher was disciplined, taken out of lessons, and effectively he lost his job. And that was a story that was in the paper. But this is going on all over the country, in schools, in hospitals. You have now prisons where if a man says they're a woman, they get transferred to a woman's prison and so on, and then they go and, you know, it sounds funny, but they go and sexually abuse the real female inmates. The world is turned upside down. You may have read some of these books. There was the book of that name, The World Turned Upside Down, by Melanie Phillips. You may have read The Abolition of Britain by Peter Hitchens. You may have read The Strange Death of Europe by Douglas Murray. You may have read The Death of the West by Pat Buchanan. They all say similar things, that there's this absolute insane ideology of cultural Marxism that has marched through the institutions. It's gone through them, and now the people in power have turned everything upside down, and we're left with a crazy, insane Orwellian world. We are here at this time in this country to stand up to it. And I'm so proud to see so many of you here today. And I see the look on your faces that you understand. And I see boldness and courage in your faces, and honesty and reality to go out and fight to take this country back again. Not just in Brexit, but beyond Brexit as well, to wrest this country back from those who are destroying it from within. So thank you for listening, and I thank you for being there, and thank you for giving me the welcome and the chance and the platform to speak about these things. I think I've spoken enough now, because the first rule of speaking is that you don't speak longer than the boss. And the boss is over there, so I think I've had my 10 minutes. So I better be quiet now and hand over. But thank you so much for your welcome. It's great to see you. Thanks a lot.